All right. Well, I watched the movie last night and I enjoyed it.
You. I'm so
It-
glad to hear that. Thank you.
I really liked how positive it was and how Harriet was so positive.
She
It's
is.
I like stuff like that more than a lot of indie movies I get. Well, a lot of them are horror movies, but a lot of them are just so depressing. It's like, and I'm a science fiction fan, and a lot of those nowadays are so depressing because they're all post-apocalyptic. The future is awful. You know, I can understand why people think that, but still. Um,
I hear you. I know. There's a lot of that out there.
yeah. Well, since you wrote, produced, and directed this film, I have to ask the obvious question. How much of this was based on you, your life, and your experiences?
I love that question. Okay, yeah. Well, guilty as charged. There are certainly some parallels with my real life. So basically, in my 40s, I decided to reclaim my long lost dream, which is to become a filmmaker to go to film school. For various reasons, I had not done that because it seemed so crazy, and then it seemed like I'm too old and no one cares what I have to say, and all the internalized things that we do to push aside
Sure.
our dream. And then I went to film school anyway, and so I had a blast, and it was challenging, but it was really inspiring at the same time. And then because I had such a positive experience, I decided to make a movie about that. So it's inspired by true events, because I kind of wanted to share that experience for other people who might also doubt themselves and push aside their dreams and procrastinate and say, no, no, come on, do it. So it kind of came from that. But other than that one part, which is a person in their 40s reclaiming a dream going to film school, everything else I made up. Everything else
Okay.
is the rest of it is not about my life at all. So
Good,
it's fiction.
good.
It's not fiction.
Well, that's good. Yeah, well, I'm 63 and
First of all,
I
you're fantastic.
thank you. I agree. Well, Zoom hides a lot of the wrinkles. I agree that you're never too old to do most things. I mean, I about let's see, was about a decade ago I started taking guitar for fun. So, I mean stuff like that. And who cares how old
Wonderful.
you are? If you're just doing it, whether you're doing it for fun or work or whatever, who cares how old you are? I mean, as long as you still physically or whatever can do mentally can do it.
Completely agree with you. And I'll say something else about being a bit older is that there's a real advantage. I don't think people embrace this as much as maybe we should, but I think when I was younger, I might have been a little more insecure
Mhm.
directing a set. I ended up having some days like 100 people on set, which was a lot of people. And as a younger person, I think that might have made me kind of feel very intimidated.
Sure.
But I was a little bit older, I was like, yeah, whatever, I could do this. Like there's a little bit more confidence, a little bit more go with the flow. When things went wrong, it's like, okay, how are we going to resolve this? I've been on Earth long enough, I've solved problems before. And I think the younger me might have just been devastated every time something went wrong. I mean, everything
Mhm.
does go wrong when you make a movie,
Sure.
just but yeah, I also think for me anyway, I don't know if I had that much to say in my 20s, as a
Mhm.
writer. I just was like living life. And then you get a little older and you're like, I have a few opinions about this thing called life. Let me write them down.
Yeah.
So I know that our culture's a little youth obsessed, and I love the youth. Yay, youth.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I really want to encourage folks my age and, the generations of all ages to bring their voice forth.
Mhm.
There's something beneficial and maybe even a little acquired wisdom about being older.
Definitely. No, definitely. I mean, obviously not everyone who gets older is wiser, but I do think the life experience makes a big difference. In fact, when I do interviews, I mean, sure, it's fun, like you said, to see a nice, handsome guy or good-looking person or somebody who's really famous. But I've had better conversations with older people, and writers especially. You have more to say. But so, how long did it take you to write, and how long did it take to produce?
Wow, that's a good question. Actually, it took a long time. So the writing probably took a year and a half,
Mhm.
maybe on and off. And I'm really lucky. I'm in writing groups. I'm a bit of a writing group addict, I will
Mhm.
admit. I have my own writing group that I run. I'm in my mentor, Jose Rivera, who's been my mentor for more than 2 decades. I'm in his writing group and he executive produced. So that includes workshopping 10 pages at a time, but then he presented a work in progress reading of it so I could rework things. Anyway, we workshop it for a while, so about a year and a half, and then we shot it. But post production took a while, and it took a while for various reasons, including COVID. I mean, obviously,
Oh,
COVID
right.
happened,
Yeah.
other reasons as well, but in a funny way. I'm really glad it took the time it did because I think the movie kind of found its feet in post production, if you know what I mean. And if I had done post really fast, I think it wouldn't have quite grown into itself, if you know what I'm saying.
Mhm.
So yeah, it took a while. It took like
Yeah,
six
people,
years.
I think people forget how collaborative movies and TV are. You know, you obviously you had the idea and you get the credit, but you didn't work by yourself. And that's always true.
Yeah, and thank you for saying I get the credit. I want to give the credit to like everybody who worked on this because it's really like I just am the lucky person in the middle saying thank you for bringing your talent, thank you for bringing your talent, and try to have everyone tell the same story with the kind of unique tone. You know, it's a drama, but it's a comedy, and making
Mhm.
sure we are all on the same page about what we're doing when and which scene is more comedy and which is more drama and which is more both.
Sure.
And, making sure the design and the music and since I brought up music, our composer won a Grammy last year.
Oh, wow.
So come on, our DP shot a short film that was nominated for an Oscar. So
Hmm.
I got to work with folks coming up, and now everybody's really rising to this point where of recognition for their talent. So yeah, I lucked out by having a really talented cast and a really talented crew.
That's great. And is this your first time directing a full-length film?
It is, yes, my first feature.
Well, congratulations. You did a good job.
What you're saying. I'm saying
Well,
thank
it's
you.
true. I mean, you know, I watch it. If I didn't like it, I would not say that.
Well, that means the world to me. Thank you so much for saying that. Thank
Well, you're
you.
welcome. And let's see. What did you learn most while working on it?
What did I learn most? Oh, good question. Trust your gut. Um, I will confess that I am sometimes a person who doubts myself. I'll have an instinct or whatever, and then I'll be like, yeah, no, it's fine. No, or just don't worry about it. And then in the end, your gut usually, I don't know why, is kind of smarter than your head. If there is a disconnect, there. So trust your gut when you say, yeah, that's the right actress, or that's the right look, or that's the right sound. I don't know. I've got composer on my mind right now, but I was looking for a composer for a while, and I heard this one piece of music from the composer we ended up working with. Amazing, Carla Petula. And I had listened to so many things she wrote already, but I heard this one piece, and I started crying because I'd been looking for
Oh,
so long for Carla, and I was like, oh, she's the one. And I had been desperate for the one because, like I said, it's a comedy, it's a drama. You need the right vibe. Um, so that was my gut. That was my whatever you would call it, my
mhm.
primal self
Your
saying,
intuition.
yeah. And I didn't even have time to think. Just the tears came to my eyes, and I was like, she's it. This is it. We finally found it. It took me a really long time, by the way, to find the right music. So trust your gut, whatever that means.
Great. And yeah, music can really affect us in ways we don't even really know until it does.
You're right, and she has a light touch because you don't want the music to drive the emotion. You don't want the audience to feel like, okay, like you're like
Yeah,
the music
yeah.
feel. No, you want it to be with the experience, but not push.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. All right, well, thank you. And I really enjoyed talking to you and good luck with it.
thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Bye.